This is ABTV, Animal Bites Television. For animal lovers, by animal lovers.
Hey, I'm Primitive Tim, and today we're continuing our trip down in South Florida. So this is part 2. If you didn't see part 1, be sure you watch that as well because there's a lot of awesome animals in there as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I know I enjoyed making it. So thanks for watching. All right, so this is the Florida Cottonmouth, and it's a young one. And these young ones will almost always have a really awesome pattern. And that's because for a young one like this, he's a lot more vulnerable, so he needs to blend in with the surroundings really well. And as you can see right here, I mean, it's difficult for him to see him. What he's doing right here, you can see his mouth is just kind of like flicking open. Because they have such good camouflage, you don't really see them. Now when a predator or something bigger than him that's a threat to this snake is coming toward him, what he'll do is open that mouth, and inside the mouth is pure white, like cotton. And so when he opens that white mouth, you can see him. And that flash of white will grab anyone's attention or anything's attention. So that way I know there's something highly venomous here. I don't want to touch it, and I want to just leave it alone. And that's what we both want right here. The snake wants me to leave him alone, and I definitely don't want to get bit. All right, so when these guys gape like this, they show us something really cool. They show us their Jacobson's organ, which is something we can't really see very often. And that's in the roof of their mouth. And basically the way snakes smell is they flick out their tongue. It's a forked tongue. So they flick out their tongue and collect scent particles. When they bring it in, they stick their tongue into the Jacobson's organ. That's like their nose. And so that organ will read all these scent particles. And so say he's tracking something down, he flicks his tongue, gets more scent particles of prey on this one than this one, he knows to go left. And so it's a really strong organ, and it's extremely important for these guys. So it's really cool to have a peaceful encounter with such a highly venomous snake. Obviously this is not an aggressive snake, and I've actually never come across any cottonmouth that would like chase or do anything aggressive toward me. Because if this guy wanted to, he could probably slither real quick at me and tag me on the foot. But obviously he does not want that because, well, he can't eat me, so he has no reason to kill me. And that's really what nature is all about. All right, so this big animal right here, this is this is a green water snake, and it's just another species of water snake. They're probably the least common of the freshwater water snakes that we have, and they're really cool to see. So this guy's just crossing the road doing his thing, and we're gonna let him go because he's a snake. Let him live. All right, so this is another type of water snake. This is the brown water snake. So a lot of these water snakes, they're all in the genus of Nerodia. They're all pretty much very similar. Live in water, eat a lot of the same things, but just a little bit different. This guy is, of course, a very chocolatey brown, which I always think is really cool because they look like they're made of chocolate. And this guy, he's very still because he doesn't want to move and draw any attention to himself. And so you can just kind of hang out. See that tongue flick there? He's kind of assessing the situation because he realizes there is something dangerous near him, but I haven't acted on him or anything. So we're just gonna leave him right here, and hopefully he crawls off the road and goes out back into nature where he'll be safer than on the road. All right, so this snake right here, this is the Burmese python, and they're not native to Florida, of course. We don't have any pythons. Pythons are for the most part old world creatures. And this is actually a fairly young one because they can get big, like 15 feet. That's a pretty big adult. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of really big ones like that. This is about average size. So the biggest thing that this snake could eat is maybe a small wading bird or big rats. And check out how calm he is. Whoa. But these guys are just really cool to see. Now, we're in Everglades National Park, and so all the animals are protected. So it's a hands-off rule, and we cannot take take this animal out of the wild, even though it's invasive. Now, if I had permits, which I should get, I could take it out. So basically the only way to really find these things is to road cruise, and that's how the majority of them are found, just crossing roads. Now you can shine them, and we're gonna attempt some of that tonight. However, I'm not too happy. But these guys are just so cool. And this one seems pretty calm, except for when he bites my pants. Oh, where's he going? Oh, there it is. So according to the federal law, we actually have to let this guy crawl off the road, and that's what we're gonna do. But a Burmese python, a big snake, a constrictor, and just a beautiful animal. See you, buddy. This is pretty sweet. I might just crawl into the grass with him. That is amazing. Check out how he slithers. His scales are just so shiny. I mean, he's hardly got any scars or anything on him. This is a pretty good looking python right here. Pythons are so cool, look at that. Look at it. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited about this. I mean, I think it's a little bit sad having an invasive species like this in the Everglades eating our native stuff, but look at it. It's still beautiful and it's still a really awesome animal. All right, so we found an area that's got a lot of veiled chameleons, and this is a really cool thing to find because they're from the Middle East, and here we are in Florida, and these trees we're finding them in, they're Brazilian pepper trees, and they're from South America. So it's just so weird finding, you know, a lizard from way the heck over here in a plant that's from way over here in this place right here. And so we've actually found 2 baby chameleons. One's way up in the tree. We're gonna try and get this one and bring it in a little bit closer for you guys. And so I'm gonna catch it here. Holy crap. There's a freaking ribbon snake in here. Alright. Pretty sure it's a ribbon. Alright, so since he's just hanging out right here, and I actually found this little ribbon snake on the same branch. And yeah, I don't think he'd be able to eat him. That would be a pretty big meal. Alright, we're letting this guy go.
Just throw him out.
Oh, he's going in the tree. Alright, so here he is. This guy's absolutely tiny. And look, he's quick. Look how fast he is. That's so weird for a chameleon to be kind of quick. And this guy had to have been hatched out this year. And he looks healthy. He's nice and wide and fat. He's still got some shed skin going on. This is an amazing little creature. And they're tiny replicas, especially of the females. The females will look a lot like this, just much larger, complete with that little stripe down by the bottom. And check out these little eyes. They're just going everywhere. And on the babies, the eyes had just like, the eyes are so huge proportional to his head. Like, it looks like most of his head is actually just eyes. Now you see that under here? This is a little dewlap. He's basically just trying to look big and trying to frighten me away. But of course, he's so tiny and cute, he could never be frightening. And this is a sure sign that they're breeding. And these populations down here, I'm not really concerned about them as far as being invasive because they're found in disturbed and agricultural areas. So this isn't like pristine habitat by any stretch. And so it's not really a big deal having these guys in here. Now, if they were like out in the middle of the Everglades, you know, maybe they'd be causing some problems, but they haven't been recorded out there. So finding them like this in places with a bunch of invasive plants and just, you know, poor habitat, it's kind of cool. You know, I wish the habitat was great, but it's not. But we're finding these cool little guys, and I can be very excited about that. Look at him. All right, so we're gonna put him back up in the Brazilian pepper tree, where hopefully he'll do well. Watch out for ribbon snakes, buddy. There he goes. Now ribbon snakes are usually frog eaters, so he should be safe. And he looked a little bit too big for that one, but you know, native snakes and, you know, native animals, if they see something invasive that they can eat, like these little chameleons, they're gonna do it. They don't have any problems with that. Oh, I'm so excited. A little bit past 2 a.m. We're passing by a landfill, which is right over here, and we find this little guy right here. Now he's acting a little weird, because he's been hit. He's got a little bit of damage on his face, but other than that, he looks pretty healthy. I think he's gonna make it, and he's doing this weird head jerk, and that may just be a result of getting hit. This is a red rat snake, or a corn snake, and down here in South Florida, they have like a different phase. So basically, they just have a lot of gray in between the red. And so they look pretty cool, and this is a really pretty specimen. And of course, it's a pretty young one as well. And at this age, they're gonna be eating a lot of lizards. And so here in South Florida, they've got their pick. They've got, you know, every type of anole down here that they can eat. And so that's kind of cool for them. It looked like it was going toward the dump. So we're just gonna get it and don't bite. There we go. Alright. Now we're gonna put him all the way across the road here. And let him go right in the grass. Or hopefully he'll catch some more lizards. Whether they're invasive or non-invasive. So I hope he does well, but man, I'm so tired. I'm out of it. Jeez. Oh, good night, everyone. Let's go to sleep. All right, so this guy right here, this is a crested anole, and he's called that because on his tail, he's got a big crest there. And I mean, he's just very dinosaur looking. Also very similar to all the other anoles we've seen on this trip. But this is just a really cool one. They're a little bit bigger than some of the other anoles, and they're just real stocky and tough. So they've got that really cool dewlap with the red and green on it. And of course, they're gonna use that just like any other anole to attract females and to show other males how tough they are and to tell them to get out of their territory. So this is a good sized male right here. And we've been seeing some hatchlings, so those are pretty cool too. And they look a lot like the brown anoles, except almost all of them are just striped, and their markings on their face are just a little bit different. So we're gonna let this guy go. We're in a park right now, so of course disturbed habitat and all that. So it's not a big deal that these guys are here, and they're very similar to the other anoles. So as a kid, we would, put anoles up on our ears like this, but this guy doesn't want to come off. So this is my anole earring. He's just kind of clamped onto my, oh, there he goes. Now here in South Florida, we have been seeing a good number of green anoles, and really they're not that much less common than up in Central Florida, where they don't have as much competition. So that's good to see that they're still down here, because these invasive anoles have been here for a very, very long time. So if they were going to outcompete and like completely extirpate them from this area, they would have done it already. And so they're hanging on, they're doing pretty well. So sorry buddy, you're not tough enough. All right, so we found something cool right here. This little lizard is just a baby. I mean, this one has hatched probably this year. And this is a red-headed Hakama. And these are actually related to bearded dragons and stuff. And so you can kind of tell with the head shape, they've got kind of a blunt, broad head. And they're called red-headed Hakamas because the adult males will be kind of a dark bluish color with a very orangey red head. And man, I tell you what, these little guys are fast. And so luckily I was able to outsmart this little one right here, and I was able to catch him and we can get a closer look at him. But I just love the turquoise striping on his head, and then he's got a little bit of yellow on the sides here. So just a really cool little lizard right here. So I'm just gonna let him go. This is a big male red-headed Hakama, and he's a healthy looking guy. Now when he gets up in the morning, first thing he's gonna do is go find some sun. So climb up on a high branch or up on top of a rock and start basking in the sun. This is gonna bring his body temperature up. Once his body temperature gets up, digestion is gonna start going really well for him. So he's gonna take his morning dump and just defecate right on his perch. Oh, that's really gross. After he defecates, he's gonna keep looking around, make sure there's no intruding males, and make sure that all his females are hanging out in his territory. These are very visual lizards, so they're always very alert. If there's no food to be seen, he's gonna turn his attention to the females. So he'll climb down from his perch and begin to approach one of the females. He'll try to attract them toward himself by doing head bobs. So he's just gonna bob his head up and down, maybe do some push-ups and just look really attractive to those females. He'll do that for a few minutes and then rest, hang out, and if a bug comes by, of course, he'll eat it. But small lizards are also an option for food. Now I mentioned earlier, these are very fast animals. So of course, I had to try my hand at actually catching one. Now this is very difficult because they're so alert and they're so fast. So I had to sneak up from behind on the other side of this tree. I peeked around the tree to make sure he didn't see me, but of course, if I can see him, he can see me. So this time the Hakama outsmarted me, but I tried my best, and man, I was so close. After a quick chase, the lizard eluded myself and Alex and went down a stump hole. Once it went down the hole, we just gave up, and we figured we'd leave the lizard alone for the rest of the day. Well, that's it for part 2. Thanks for joining me on this episode. I had a ton of fun filming it, and I'm glad I could bring you guys on our adventure. Make sure you subscribe to AnimalBytesTV, where you get new animal content every day of the week. So until next time, find a new way to appreciate nature.
Join me on a series of wild adventures as I travel the world in search of the perfect shot.
This is ABTV,